Hi, good morning, Professor.
Good morning, Melanie. How are you?
I'm getting you.
I'm good. I'm
I'm
good.
glad to hear that.
I'm doing our Hawaiian beach feel going on here.
It looks so nice. I wish I could be there right now because the weather here is kind of like not cute. It's kind of
No,
not my type, so I wish I could be there now.
yeah, I took my daughter to school and I was like, it's chilly. I'm not used
I
to this in April.
know. It's been like kind of cold. I don't know why, but it's weird. I feel like Austin is kind of bipolar because we don't even know what type of clothing we should wear. So
That's a great way of putting it.
yeah. But I'm glad you're doing good, Professor.
I'm glad you are too.
Thank you.
Getting all set with your presentation?
Yes.
Good. Good.
Yes, I'm getting it ready. So I'm excited. At the same time, I'm kind of like nervous, but I'm good. I'm doing good. I have all my information, so
Great, I am sure.
thank you.
Yay. And good morning, Samantha. Good morning, Will. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
Where is everybody? Second to last one. Ah! Okay, well, let me bring this up. Oh, there we go. We got Michaela coming in. Okay, there we go. All right. So, good morning. Yay. And I am trying to give us those awesome beachy Polynesian vibes since for me at least right now, and Melanie and I were chatting, it is chilly. It is not what I'm used to for April, but you know what? I kind of remember like July and August, and I'm like, okay, I'll take it. Like, thank you, I'll take it. uh, yeah. So I'm going to start with kind of reminding us about the end of the semester of all the crazy things. So the first thing, I'm not sure why it's not letting me do my optimized here, but let's go there. So I had a couple of folks ask about kind of the presentation. What should it sort of look like? So I actually have on our announcements an example. This is actually from Dance Appreciation, but you can kind of use it as a model for your presentation. So what she did was she created a dance. So kind of the same things. You'll talk about costumes, you'll talk about movements, you'll talk about where it's set or what the story is or what the theme is. You'll talk about the people who might be dancing. Um, and then I also wanted to kind of share this one with you as I also, it was a solo, so I could get permission from her. But she filmed part of it on her phone and part of it using her computer. And then she actually edited them together, I'm sorry, in Flipgrid. And then saved that to her Google Drive and then just shared the link. So never really had to download anything onto her computer. And once she uploaded the footage, she could wipe it from her phone and whatnot. So If you have an older device that is struggling with memory, then this might be a great way to kind of go. So that's an example for you guys to take a look at and kind of see how to do it. Again, it's different. It's not what you and I are doing. It is kind of creating her own dance, which was the assignment for dance appreciation. And then I have, and I will after today, update our kind of running tally for the rest of the semester. So we are right here talking about our final section of the Pacific Islands. On Friday, tomorrow, you have your last quiz. Woo! Yeah! So our last unit quiz, our Pacific Island quiz, will be due on Friday by the end of the day. And our last paper will be due on Sunday by the end of the day. And just like all the others, I am more than happy to take a look at a draft as you're kind of working on it. And this one kind of brings us full circle. So if you remember, our first paper topic on India was actually asking you about connections that you saw to dance experiences in your own life. And this one kind of brings us back around to kind of you and your processing. So talking about the strengths and weaknesses as you see them of solo versus group performances. We'll see several more examples today of both. And then what would you like personally feel comfortable doing? Would you enjoy doing a group work, or are you like, oh man, I would totally mess up and I would make everybody else like mad at me, right? Or would you love to do a solo, except that then you're out there all by yourself and it's like, right? But but no one's gonna be mad if you mess up because they don't know. So it can be kind of fun. Just, it's kind of like your last little thing about like, oh, I would love to do this. And I would love to do it with a group of people because of this, right? Then next week, and this is a big one, next week we don't officially have a synchronous meeting. So if you show up, right, if you come in and you're like, hey, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? And you're like, oh, this is our working day. You can definitely hang out here, right? If you need to tell the family or your roommates, like, I am in class, right? Cool, right? You can come on, hang out, and you're in class. You're good. If you are like, perfect, I need that time, and you're just going to work at home on your own, that's fine too, right? So you don't have to check in next Thursday. If you do check in, I will be here and say hi, but you don't have to be here. That being said, if you know that for yourself personally, you do much better with some kind of like accountability, right? Then go ahead and leave it on your schedule to check in and be like, oh yeah, that's right. I get this time to work on my presentation or work on my paper. Perfect, right? I am more than happy to kind of help you to facilitate that. So now why am I here? I will be here and we have this as a working day so that say Samantha has decided she is going to record her presentation, but she's having trouble, right? So she comes in and says, hey, can we actually do my recording at 9:00 on Thursday? Yes, absolutely. So what I'll do is I'll make sure that we're all set up, and then, she will go ahead and come on. I can make anyone who's not on video disappear, right? So I will make that happen. And then I will, of course, disappear. And then Samantha can go ahead and present her, do her presentation. I am then recording it. And so I can send her the footage, and then she's got it and she can edit it and she's good to go. The other thing is, I have now also seen her presentation. So guess what? She's done, right? Now, if I kind of respond to her and I'm like, hey, and this is definitely not going to be the case. But, like, hey, Samantha, you left out this big chunk. And so right now I would say this presentation is an 80. She can be like, oh, okay. And then either re-record or opt to present live our following week. So I know that was a lot of information, but basically on next Thursday, you can come in and use this time to go ahead and work. You can know that you have this time and not come in, right? So you don't log on, right? You can log on and be like, hey, Jessica, I'm working. See ya, right? That's fine too. I'm great with that. But you don't have to. So you can log on and be like, dude, look, see, I'm in class, right? Don't mess with me. I need this time. Or you can work independently, or you can use this as an opportunity to record your presentation, get feedback on your presentation, get feedback on your paper, right? Maybe you're going to use this time to work on your final paper. You can email me your paper. I'll go ahead and read it. And then say Chris and I are the only two who are actually on at the time. I'll go ahead and give him feedback. I'm not recording next week, so don't worry about that. Unless like we've set it up, right? Unless like Samantha wants us, then we'll record specifically. And at that point in time, I will either move to a different Zoom link, right? Because like maybe Tina's going to check in. She doesn't know that we're recording at 9:00, right? So she's like, hey, I'm here, right? So if you hop on and I'm not here, it's probably because I am recording with a student, and I will get dinged that, somebody has joined our class. And so I'll come back over and be like, hey, Tina, we're recording. I will come answer your question in just a second. And Tina can be like, oh no, I was just checking in to say hi, or great, I'll email you my paper. Awesome, right? And then I'll make sure we finish up. I'll come back in and we're good to go. So does that kind of make sense that next Thursday is a working day? We all pretty good on that? Yes. Okay, cool. So why do I do this, right? I do this because I want this class, as I've kind of said from the beginning, to be the fun class, right? This is the class that you look forward to, I hope. And so this gets into crunch time at the end of the semester. And I know that you have a number of other classes that you are trying to finish up work for. And so I want there to be set aside time for you to be able to finish up work in this class. And so that is why I do these working days. Yeah. So that's kind of my purpose in doing this. So again, and I'll kind of reiterate next week, I'll send a little reminder like, hey, you don't have to check in tomorrow, but this is our working day, and I will be there to answer any questions, record presentations with you, etc. Right? So I will kind of remind you of that as we get there. But that being said, right? Say you're really good, and like Michaela, is always hopping on, and she's like, oh, we don't have to be here. It's like, no, that's okay. Cool. Hi. So I will be here to answer any questions, or to record anything, or to go over papers, etc. All right. So that's next week. Yay. The week following, we are back, and it is actually our last day. Sorry, right? So what we're going to do on that day is anyone who is going to go live, right? I was kind of using Samantha before. So say we try recording next week, and I'm like, oh, you're missing this big chunk. And she's like, I want to get that in, right? But our next kind of possible time is then to go live. So she says, okay, I'm going to go ahead and present live on Thursday, the 6th, because I'm really struggling with recording. And I say, perfect. And we go ahead and she does her live presentation. Of those of you who are here, is anyone planning on doing live on May 6th? Hands or little thingies? Checking the chat. Okay, cool. So yes, so most of you are good with recording. I know that some people, recording is just a big challenge. So y'all are good. For anyone who might be watching this later, you can opt to go live. Just let me know so that I can make sure that we kind of plan and schedule those in, right? Because I don't want, you guys are all good, but let me use Tina as an example again. I don't want Tina to show up and be like, oh, but I was going to present live today. And it's, we have like 5 minutes left. Right? I don't want that because that's not fair to her. Yeah, oops. You wouldn't do that. So, I really want to make sure that I know those and I can kind of expect and plan on those. But the other part of that last day is actually going to be a great big conversation. So this is kind of my favorite conversation topic. And it is, if you could go anywhere, experience any of the cultures or dances that we've done, where would you go and what would you do? And you can go back in time. You can go forward in time, right? So you can have fun with it. I've had, really kind of amazing, thoughtful kind of responses, and it always makes me happy. Let's see. Okay. Did not get Yemena yet. Nope. Cool. Hi, Daniela. So we are going to have our live and our presentation, our live presentation and our final discussion on May 6th. Let me take you back over here since I came out to talk for a second. So this is our working day next week, and then this is the following week when we have our presentations due, and we'll do any of the live ones that need to go on that day. This is a note to kind of check out. Oh, perfect. Let's see what we got going on. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, Wi-Fi can be weird sometimes. I want you to note that the presentations are due by the end of the day on Thursday. Why? Well, the reason for that is actually because if you are presenting live, then you are going automatically on May 6th. So if you are not presenting live, but you are submitting your recording via Blackboard or emailing the link to me, however you kind of choose to do it, then you're on the same day, right? So everyone is due on the same day. And then into the next week, this is an asynchronous or a no synchronous meeting time. Again, I will be here on May 13th. I will physically be present on the link. You can say hi, like, how you doing, right? And again, if you need that time to work on your paper, to study, right, you can absolutely use it and be like, nope, see, look, I'm in my Zoom. I can't do that right now. But it's also then kind of your final time. The way I usually had this when we were in person is I would physically be in the space and you would come in and hand me your paper if you needed to do it that way. A lot of people emailed, but I usually had like 4 or 5 who, liked to physically turn in a piece of paper. So that's great. So that's kind of the standing one. Our working day usually was all in the room, and you would get to, work on your presentation, trial run your presentations. Those were always fun. And, kind of troubleshoot for questions in that situation. So these kind of come from my normal way of kind of running the class, which of course is a little different with Zoom and stuff. But that's the rest of the semester. So we have today, we have our working time next week. We have our big final class meeting with live presentations and our last discussion. And then we have our asynchronous paper working final questions kind of day. That's also, that last day is also a great day if you're like, I'm having trouble doing X, Y, or Z, right? Maybe you're still working on a unit paper. Maybe you're having issues with one of the quizzes or something, right? We can work on that at that point in time. So if you have a question or a concern at that point, we can absolutely address that. Also, I have now updated our I'm calling it our teamwork grade. Teamwork is one, participation, that's the other word. I have updated that grade because we now have kind of caught up, right? We lost that time for the snow days and we were sort of behind on the presentation grade. So I kind of spotted everybody 16 points for those days that we missed. So if you look at your presentation or your participation grade now, that participation grade will then hopefully include, right? You're all here, so it includes today. I will add that after class today, and then it will include that last synchronous class on May 6th. So those are the last two kind of teamwork participation ones. If you have questions or concerns about your participation grade, your teamwork grade, go ahead and email me or chat with me after class today. I'm more than happy to kind of, work out something if you've been having issues, right? Understandably, right? Everybody has like Wi-Fi issues or work issues that come up. So you can always kind of let me know and touch base on that. So I think that's it for housekeeping for the semester. You guys have to say hi. I know we're on Zoom, but you'll have to like periodically send me an email. It's just like, hey, I'm doing this awesome thing. And I'll be like, that's so cool. Any questions kind of continuing from here through May 13th? Oh, good. Melanie's going to say hi. Thank you. Okay. So I want to start today with my hula group. Do I have my hula people and their hula link that they were going to share with us? And I can make sure, let's see, we are multiple. Okay, yes, we're multiple open for sharing. So you can share out your hula link. Okay. Oh no. Oh no, Michaela. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, she's trying to fix it right now. Do you remember what you typed? Michaela, who was in your group? Who all was hula? I realize they might not all be on right now.
I'm not positive who I had. I may be Amanda. I'm not sure if I'm being honest.
Okay. Amanda, were you hula? Do you remember?
No, I wasn't hula.
Not hula. Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember.
That's okay.
I can try to like look something up to see if I can find it.
Okay. Well, Michaela, obviously we know you were hula. Do you remember what you Googled on YouTube? I can try and, do you remember kind of what it looked like?
I think I just searched up hula dance and it was like the first, it was the first pop-up. It was like, they were outside. It's kind of like that was like the thumbnail, like they were outside.
Okay.
With like the traditional hula outfits on.
Does this look like it? I kind of did what you did and I typed in hula dance and it brought me to this one. Trying to see what the
Yes, that's the
thumbnail is.
video that I had.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. Yay. Well, let me turn it over to you to talk. I'll kind of I'll do widescreen here for everyone. And would you like to talk a little bit about why you chose this one?
I chose this one because it has a lot of different styles of like hula in this video. I kind of just wanted to pick it so it's not like the traditional like when I think of hula, I kind of think of like Lilo and Stitch, like the grass or the green like dress skirts, like all of that stuff, and the leis that they wear on their head. But this one is kind of different because they're wearing like more traditional Hawaiian or Pacific Islander clothes.
Yeah, I love this one for all the diverse examples. Like the one we just saw had the poi, which is it's actually, it used to be a rock tied with a string, but it's to strengthen the wrist. So I love that. And then this is more of your classic or traditional hula.
Yeah, if anyone has watched Moana, the grandma that was just dancing, it kind of reminds me of the grandma from Moana.
I love that. That's so true. And here you can see they're dancing with the ipu, right? So this is an instrument that we saw them playing a couple of times. Here are the sticks, I can't remember the name right now. And here are the sort of maraca-like shakers. Oh.
Yeah, it's
good.
super
Okay.
cute. I just wanted to pick that one because it had a lot of different styles of hula inside of it and like different costumes.
Yeah, no, I love that. Great choice. Yay! And I like getting to see all the different versions of hula, right? Because there's so many. So I like that. You did a great job. Yay! All right, I want to now kind of challenge all of us with our next style. And so I want to kind of unpack it a little bit. Hopefully you got to sort of see the lecture. If not, that's okay, because we'll talk a little bit about it now. And then you can all get ready to either use YouTube or you can just go on the internet and find a picture if you want of a haka. So here we go. We're going to take a look at haka. And again, my screen is not being optimized for video, so I apologize if this is much choppier than it usually is. Oh, good. Yes, it is very intense. Okay, so the haka, and I talk about it more in our lecture, but the haka is a dance by the Maori people who were kind of pushed to the northeastern side of New Zealand, right? They were really kind of pushed out of their land by the English and primarily English. There were some Australian, right? But they're still English because England came and settled or, colonized Australia. And then they expanded and colonized New Zealand. Oh, I love it. You guys are all chatting. I love this. Yes, you have seen it performed at funerals. Oh, good. Oh, you guys are all like, you're ready. I feel like we could just jump in right now. Okay, but I'm gonna let me unpack for a little bit of background for those who are not as familiar. But yay! Oh, you guys are gonna be great at this. This is gonna be awesome. Okay, so my Maori people were pushed to basically the edges of what used to be their territory. And ultimately, Captain Cook and his soldiers came around trying to come in through the water. So they came around the back side and saw the Maori people on the beach doing this aggressive looking dance doing the haka. And the haka includes kind of like flamenco and other dance forms that we have looked at. And it includes both the chant and the movement and the rhythm. So originally it was interpreted and thought to be a war dance, right? This was a dance that basically is about like, we're going to go to war and we are going to embody the crazy faced war god. That is the pukana, when they bulge out their eyes and stick out their tongues, that, right? Because war is crazy, right? If you think about it, why are you willing to risk your life and then take another life just because, right? So the pukana is to kind of show like, I'm ready. I am willing to embody this crazy thing and bring war. But it's actually a handshake. So yes, it's a very emotional dance. I love it. Oh, you guys are so ready. I love this. So it's actually like a handshake. When I do my haka, your response is either, whoa, what's going on? Okay, then I know we're going to war because you don't get it, right? You're just responding and like, right? So, okay. Or you do your haka. And I go, cool. All right, we're good. We're good. I gotcha, right? You're stating your power. I'm stating my power, and we can accept that we both have power, right? It's when I say, if you don't respect me, I'm going to bring down the crazy faced war god, and you go, I'm going to and start flailing, then yeah, then okay, you don't respect my power. So here we go. And that is actually kind of the base of the haka. And so to that end, we actually learn more and more about the haka thanks to the missionaries. Wait, what? Well, remember that the Maori people got pushed up to this sort of peninsula of land, and we of course have settlers, British, English settlers that kind of fill in, and a lot of missionaries are a part of the settlement groups, and they try to reach the Maori people, but it's actually the younger missionaries who end up talking with the younger Maori. And they realize that, just like kind of any kids anywhere, that they actually do have kind of a common language. And the Maori explain to the missionaries that, no, this is something we do for weddings. This is something that we do for funerals. This is something that we do for like big grand celebrations or events where we have lots of communities coming together. This is something that we do on, I'll call them business trips, right? When the Maori would go to Hawaii, they would show up and they would do their haka. The Hawaiians would do the haka back, right? Their own version, different chant, possibly different movements. And they would be like, hey, cool. They might not have actually interacted for 100 years, but the Maori ancestors and the Hawaiian ancestors who had met 100 years ago, they teach the haka so that when, now I go to, say, the Samoan Islands, I'm going to do my haka. The Samoans will do their haka back, and we're good, right? So there are versions of the haka all over the Pacific Islands, and it is a big kind of communal respect that they're showing. And so that's what the haka is. And I find it really kind of fascinating that it took like the young kids to actually start to talk to each other and be like, oh, so that's what you're doing. That's cool. Would you teach me? And they did. And now we actually have examples of the haka throughout all of New Zealand. So not only is it kind of Maori identity, right, which is the version I showed you, right? That's a kind of a Maori event, right? Think of like the Scottish games that they sometimes have in Austin, right? Anyone can go, right? And anyone can learn it and do it. But it's kind of a way of sort of sharing and celebrating their culture. So of course they have Maori events. And now the haka has been taught throughout New Zealand. And so it's not only sort of Maori identity, it's also New Zealand identity. So in the examples that I was talking about, yes, exactly. It is about welcoming an esteemed guest. Yeah, Melanie. Yeah, perfect. So in the examples that I kind of talked about before, and I agree too, it's very moving. The haka always is like, it gets me. So part of kind of its popular appeal has also been that the rugby team, which is kind of a version of American football, the rugby team actually does the haka before their games, their matches.
No matter what.
And it's something that, you know, kids learn, right? All the kids growing up who, you know, kind of want to be a part of the rugby team or even not, right? They kind of know and respect that the haka is kind of part of that national identity.
The protruding tongue. So when you see the All Blacks pukana at the end of the haka, that's them telling you, bring it on.
So the reason that I love kind of the comments that were going on about the sign of respect is that the haka coming through the young people from being interpreted as just a war dance to the greater understanding that this is a sign of respect, that this is a sign of community building. Back on March 15th of 2019, there were 3 people who were killed at a mosque in Christchurch, New Zealand, and the entire country came out and actually celebrated the lives of these people. And they celebrated by doing the haka. So did they know these people? No. Did they all share the same religion as the people who were killed? No. They actually came out because they were New Zealanders, right? Because they were Kiwis. And they came out to do the haka as the funeral kind of honors. And the reason that they do the honors, the funeral honors, is because the haka, like I said, is a sign of respect. So they're doing the haka to basically tell anyone on the other side, right? Whatever your belief is, if you believe in an afterlife, if you believe that you join the ancestors, if you believe that your spirit is floating for a little while to be reincarnated, however you interpret it, whoever is going to be watching over the spirits of these now 3 murder victims, they're doing the haka to say, these are our people, right? You are getting one of our people, and you better respect them and you better protect them, or, you know, we will bring our pukana to you, right? We will defend our people. You are getting our people.
Come on! Yeah, Koitetaan tokarere työ, tiroangara ruarera, marua kuri, kakanui raroa. Kamate, kaura.
Chanting, yes, yeah, no, it does, it absolutely. So you're talking about Maui and kind of his kind of persona, absolutely. Yeah, and battling the sea monsters. It's really, it's really part of Pacific Island culture in general. And what I find so powerful about it is that it really does bring communities together. I love that example there, because you saw bikers, you saw, school children, you saw different genders, different ages, all coming together, and also doing it as a solo to really say, like, these are our people. You messed with our people. And one of the things I find really kind of remarkable is that this would be if we did something, not specifically this, but like if all Americans responded by doing the ghost dance when we found out about COVID-19. Right? Because the ghost dance was supposed to bring wisdom from our ancestors. And if we had all gotten together, like everyone all over the United States was coming out and doing the ghost dance, that's essentially what the haka is. It is a dance that came from a people that was almost extinguished. And it really is a sign of kind of respect and reverence. And it is part of cultural identity, right? So to keep myself from crying, I want you guys to fairly quickly and on your own, right? This is a solo thing, right? But my question for this whole unit is solo versus group, right? So we did some group last week. We're doing solo today. It's okay. You'll be fine. So I want you to quickly hop on, if you have access to YouTube, I would love for you to find an example of the haka that you really like. There are amazing ones. There is a bride and groom at a wedding that I cry every time I see that one. Why is the haka performed at a wedding? Because you're bringing together two groups, right? So again, the tradition originally was you had, one group, they would perform their haka, the other group, the bride's family say, would perform their haka, and then we know we're good. Because they're of the same kind of community, the groomsmen perform the haka, and the bride's like uncles and dad and whatnot, they join in, and the bride joins in, and the bridesmaids join. It's like, yeah. Anyway, so today it's more of kind of a community building exercise. There's an example of Jason Momoa doing a haka at the premiere of Aquaman. So you can find that one if you want. That is the Samoan haka. If you can find the little clip of Maui, threatening the monsters, I think he does it on the top of the kind of mountain before it like opens up. Yes, Tina, I agree. So yeah, if you want to find that one, you can totally do that. If you don't have access to the internet, to YouTube right now, if you have access to the internet, obviously, because we're here, just see if you can find a still shot, right? Just see if you can find a still picture of the haka, and you can kind of tell us why you kind of liked that picture and why you wanted to share that picture. Okay, So on your mark, get set, go. So once you find it, go ahead and put the one that you want to talk a little bit about in the chat. So like when Chris finds the one that he wants to kind of chat a little bit about, he'll put the link in the chat. Again, if you're using a picture, if you're just doing a picture, go ahead and put the link to the picture that you found in the chat. Perfect. All right, Kendi, stick it in the chat. I love it. Oh, Tina's got hers. Samantha's got hers. Awesome. Oh, there's Kendi's. Okay, cool. Oh, I'm excited. Okay, Tina. All right. Excellent. Okay. For those of you who are still pulling yours up, go ahead and keep finding yours. Find the example that you want to share and just go ahead and stick it in the chat. I won't come click back over each time, but I'm going to start kind of in the order that they came in. I know Kendi was like, I got mine, but I'm going to go with Tina because she snuck in there first. So we're going to share Tina's. Oh, I'm excited. This looks cool. All right. Neat. All right, Tina, I'm going to keep the volume kind of low. Do you want to tell us why you liked this one?
Well, because he's, in the Army, so it was performed, I guess, at one of their like homecomings. But also because it's Prince Harry. He's, I love him. Yeah. So, and it's really cool because he's like that's not his culture, but to see him performing it and then with, the people who actually perform it was pretty cool. I like.
Yeah. There's actually, I don't know if it's a video, but I do know that when Queen Elizabeth was making a trip to New Zealand, like one of her trips years ago, haka was performed for her. I don't think she performed back, but she was sort of like, thank you. But, I would have loved to have seen Queen Elizabeth perform the haka. I think that would have been amazing. Yay! Good one. All right. I have not seen that one before. That was cool. Okay, Samantha. Oh, yay. Okay. Hang on. I got an ad before I bring you over. There we go. Okay. Samantha, why did you choose this one?
I chose this one. I saw it maybe like a couple years ago and it like really moved me. Like I was bawling my eyes over it. I just found like it to be like very powerful. Like it was for a funeral.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that I love about the Haka, and that I love about dance, and I love about art in general, right? Is that, you know, here they're just people, right? And they're just responding to the situation, and you know, it helps them to release sort of their grief and their emotion and their pain, and it also, you know, is really kind of a respectful show of their culture. So yay. Okay, now that I know but that's this is why I love this dance. I love all the dances, but this one is so powerful to me. Okay, so Kendi, she knew right away which one she wanted. Oh, perfect. I love it. So she found it. So, Kendi, why did you choose that example of the Haka?
Mine isn't as emotional.
No.
But I chose it because I just didn't even know what this dance was whenever I was watching the movie. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was Haka, so I think that it's really cool to, like, think that I can, like, see, the Hawaiian culture and, like, the different Hawaiian dances in a movie, in a Disney movie, and then learn about it later in this class. So I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and what I really appreciate too is that Disney did that, right? That Disney included that element of culture, which, you know, in a very appropriate place, right? He is meeting this character, he is going to war with this character if this character kind of doesn't respond, and you know, it's kind of a way of you know, building himself up and kind of empowering himself, and so yeah, it's used culturally appropriately, and it is, you know, in a culturally appropriate movie, and I just think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that, like, you know, then, you know, hopefully kids later on will be like, oh yeah, that's right, I know the Haka, right? So it helps to educate all of us, which is cool.
For sure.
All right, Chris.
Hold on a second. Before
Okay,
we
no,
do mine.
before we do yours, okay.
Have we seen the wedding one? Because I'm looking, it looks like no one posted the wedding one. And it's like the most popular Haka ever. And I kind of did a deep dive and found one way funkier. But if we haven't seen the wedding one, we have to see the wedding one.
Yeah, that's true. This is an excellent point.
All right, I'm going to send you, I'm going to forget mine. I'm going to send you the wedding one right now.
Well, I don't want to forget yours because I want to see the example that you chose too. But yes, okay, let's start with the wedding. You do have.
Well, Michaela said she sent the wedding one. She just said it in the chat.
All right, cool. Then well, as long as we get to see the wedding one, we can do mine and skip to like 145.
Okay, 145. All right, yep. Let me pull pull you guys in with us. Going to 145. Michaela's got us covered. Ooh. I'm excited.
I've watched a lot of Hakas.
I love this. Okay, let's go right in here.
All your family to us, the Lord of the Rings stunt team.
And it was actually quite emotional after that. I mean, there was this incredible haka. They gave him a haka.
This is only performed for dignitaries or, people of importance. And, Viggo, throughout the whole filming of it, was really an important part of the film. He ended up being king.
And of course, at the end of it, V goes around and does a headbutt.
I wanted to say goodbye, give each of them a hug, but of course, the first one I saw was like, bam. And then I did another one. I realized, well, I have to do them all now.
And his head was just welted up big time.
Oh, that was awesome. I am so glad that we did see that, Chris. I did not know that they did that. For those of you who aren't as familiar, the Lord of the Rings filmed in New Zealand. So a lot of their crew were New Zealanders. So Chris, why did we choose this one, other than the fact that you've seen lots of hakas?
Well, yeah, but we see a lot of the funeral ones and stuff like that, which are really, really moving. But I like this one a lot because, they spend a year and a half with this guy and they earn a lot of respect. And like, this is how we show the most respect for you. And Viggo got it. You know what I mean? He completely understood what they were doing. He just completely respected everything. And it was just a really cool mutual show of respect. And I just love it.
And I love, you could see the diversity of ages in that group. They were all guys because they were all stunt guys, but I love how you could see the diversity of ages in there.
Yeah.
And that's really a big part of the haka too.
The coolest thing I think about haka is, I think a lot of cultures can be really protective of, and rightfully so, but I feel like they are so inclusive. Like, as soon as we respect you, you're part of us forever. And it's just, I love it. They don't care where you're from. You just get to be a part of everything. I just love it.
Yeah, me too. I love Tina's. Our nurse over here is worried about concussions. Yep, I thought it was funny too. Oh yes, it does. It does remind me of Noggin from Finding Nemo. The turtles. They're like, anyway, and it's a handshake, right? Because the turtles are like, they do their thing, Noggin, and they do their anyway. All right, done now. Okay. I love today. Today's a good day. Okay, so we get to see the wedding one here in a little bit. I love that one. Yes, it was, and they talk about it too, right? Is that this is an ultimate show of respect. And to have Viggo really kind of, he appreciates all these guys, and to really appreciate, what they're doing for him. Like that's perfect. All right, Amanda, we have.
I want to tell the story of it real quick. So
perfect.
I saw on Facebook a few months ago, and I remember seeing the haka dance in it. So it's a groom and a bride getting married, but the groom has brain cancer, and I believe he had like a few months left to live, so they got married. So I saw the
Oh,
dance, and I knew that was like very respectful to do.
oh wow. Okay. I don't think I've seen this one though.
To
Then
see the dance, you have to skip it at like 3:50.
about 3:50. I've got the whole wedding and. Okay. Oh.
Darling, don't be afraid. I have loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000.
Oh my gosh.
I remember
That
seeing
was good.
that.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't see that one, so thank you for sharing that one. That was really amazing. So it looks like their friends kind of doing that in respect for them. So that was really
Yeah,
good.
that's why I wanted to pick that one because I thought that was like very respectful to do for him.
They didn't need the background music from Twilight either, but that's okay. Because it just makes it even like more, oh my gosh. Yeah, but that's beautiful. I love, yeah, and that again is sort of a blending. So that's actually kind of a blending of all three, right? It's a sign of respect. It's, a sign of kind of reverence and celebration for the wedding. And then, there's this kind of sad side to it too of like, we're protecting you on your next step in your journey. So yeah, anything with that song makes me cry too, Daniela. That's why I was like, that was not necessary. Thank you. I'm already a mess. Yeah. You guys are picking great ones. I love these. Okay, so let's see. Oh, welcome, Haka. Yay. Okay, so Melanie has this one. All right. So Melanie, let me get it up here. Why did you choose this one?
Okay, well, I choose this one because he's a singer I like to listen to.
Oh,
cool. Touch my heart. It made me feel like I want to experience this with my family. Oh, he's a singer. You can skip it to 8 seconds because it starts there.
8 seconds. Oh, okay. Well, here we go.
There you go.
Oh,
gosh, why is that one making me cry? That one's making me cry too.
I like that one. You can see like the whole family well, because the ones in the front, they're his brothers, and then like they're all together. And I feel like I was like, oh my God, I wish I could experience that with my family one time. It just made me feel like I want to do that because he brings like an type of emotion that is like, oh, I want to do that. Like, oh my God, this is so cute. I was crying when I saw it because I saw the video on Facebook and I was crying. I was like, why am I crying? I don't know why I'm crying. But yeah, I like
know,
that
me
video 'cause
too.
do you saw the ladies? Because the girls in the back is his sisters. So she was in the back, and then the grandma was the one that it was in the front, and his grandpa was doing the same thing in the front. So yeah, I like it.
No, I love, like, I saw her and I saw kind of her emotion, and it was like, oh, I was gone.
Yeah, because she was kind of, the grandma was kind of crying. She was like kind of emotional, and I was like, oh my God. But yeah, that's the one that I like a lot.
Love that. I love that one too. Yeah, and it's really interesting. Like, you know, it's just a dance, but it's so
Yes.
powerful, right? It's so
Yes.
powerful. And it really does it, you know, even if you're not a part of that culture, right?
Mhm.
It makes me want to be a part of that culture.
It does. It really does. That has a lot of meanings, and it makes you feel a lot of different types of emotions. So yeah, it's a really great dance. I wish I could do it. I might go to Hawaii and be in one of those groups.
Like, I'm gonna go do this. I love it. All right, and Daniela found, let's see. What is Daniela finding? Oh yeah, Kendi, I think the her is Queen Elizabeth, right? I can't imagine Queen Elizabeth doing the haka either, but I would love to. Like that would be amazing to see. I think she'd be good at it. Oh yes, okay. So I love this performer too. I think she's just a woman, right? But she's so powerful. So, Daniela, why did you choose this one to share with us?
It'd be better to skip like 1 minute in.
Okay.
Because it gets the whole group. But yeah, I chose this one because, well, first I like that it was students and they're like a lot younger. Because I feel like with a lot of these we see we see like a mix of older people and then a bit of the younger people, but this was like solely like students. They look like high school students, maybe even college, but yeah. And they're doing this haka to mourn the victims of the shooting of the mosque in New Zealand. And I just thought it was like very powerful that they took just the time out of their day to do that, especially for people, you know, that they probably didn't even know, or maybe they did know, those that passed away in the mosque. So it's just the fact that they're showing their respect and doing this, and they have such like powerful emotions, especially the girl in the front that they're zooming in on. And yeah.
We're kind of talking over the chant part, but like I love how then at the end it's not towards anything else. They all turn in on each other. Did you see that? They all turn in and hugged each other too. So it's a big part of it too. Kind of coming together. Yay. Yes. I love, and the students in particular in those, you know, examples always, you know, are really moving because you can see that no matter what age, right, that they are learning this as you and I would like. I mean, I learned the electric slide and square dancing in PE class. That's what we did. They learned the haka. I'm so jealous. And in the Philippines, they learn Tininkling. Like, it's so much fun. I love knowing the electric slide, but, you know, I would love to know the haka too and be able to, you know, kind of, I don't know, use it as more of a cultural kind of bonding. I guess we can all bond over the electric slide. We kind of do that anyway, right? But it doesn't have the power. It doesn't have the power at all of the haka. So Michaela is sharing the wedding one with us. Yay! Well, I know that we had various reasons, but Michaela, why do you like the wedding one?
I like the wedding one because it shows the emotion of the bride and how she like how it affected her, just how like having like her whole family and friends like do her, I guess it's her culture, so it's just very emotional. I just liked the emotion that was in it, and it showed like her crying and stuff. I'm not saying that's like a good thing that she's crying, but she's like happy that they're like celebrating her culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yay, I love that one. I love, like, you know, kind of as we were saying, you know, Michaela was saying, like, just the emotion of it, right? How important that is to the bride, you can see, and then the groom joins in, and you know, everyone is just really like engaged. It's so cool. Yeah. All right, let's see. Oh, okay. I was kind of keeping it on our things. We have kind of all of our comments kind of going back, and yeah, a lot of you are like me. Okay, good. I don't feel like I'm quite such a mess. Yes, and it is. Tina, I love this is a very succinct way of putting it and very correct, right? It's the two families coming together, and they're accepting. Yeah, it's a sign of acceptance, right? It's a sign of like, here is our culture, and he comes in and he does it, right? Which, remember, if you kind of at the very beginning, I was talking about how it's a handshake, right? And so you have two reactions to this handshake, like, what are you crazy people doing? Blah, right? Or you do it, right? And maybe you would do your own version, but he joins in because he does know this version, and so he joins in, and they all engage, you know, and so they're all doing it together and building that sense of community. And Chris, yeah, yes, nobody half-asses, right? I mean, you can even see in like the one in the airport, which I loved, that, you know, it's about being committed to it, and you can see the emotions of the people watching, right? I mean, we had different ages, different genders, different religions watching, and they are completely, you know, focused on what's happening, right? The energy is just, it's so powerful because they are committed to doing this, right? And again, it's a sign of respect, right? You can tell if somebody is like, oh, pleasure to meet you, right? Or it is so nice to meet you. I am so excited, right? Or, you know, you can tell the difference between somebody who is like just shaking hands because they have to shake hands, and somebody who genuinely is like proud of having interacted with this person, or proud of having some sort of connection to this person. And that's what the haka is, right? The haka is that pride and that respect, and then showing that pride and respect in return. And that's yay. You guys found awesome ones, and you made amazing comments. I love, Chris, do you have more to kind of share with us? Because you have some great kind of comments and thoughts over here, and I would love to, if there's anything else that you didn't really get to share or express.
I think, since Will and I are the only dudes in the class, I mentioned it in there. It's very rare in American culture to see men not express themselves other than violently. And I hate that. It really is a problem, and I don't like this, boys don't cry, and, suck it up and don't express yourself at all. And it's one of the things I really, really appreciate about the haka is there's just, human beings have emotions, and it's okay to express those emotions. And it's really nice for me seeing men express love and respect in a powerful way. And I think that's really, really cool. And it's something I've always envied about women is, sometimes they get grief for crying, which I think is ridiculous. And I'm glad that's changed more recently, that, sort of, I think everyone's emotional, and I think it's cool. I think it's cool to show those emotions in a correct way. And I think this is a very, very positive way for men and everyone to do that. So I think it's fantastic. So that's the only thing I really have to add, just from a male perspective. It's just incredibly refreshing to see that. And I really wish there was something in, the American tradition where I could do that. And there isn't. So I have to luckily I have a group of friends where we're cool like that, but it took a long time to find that. So I think that's one of my favorite things, and it might be one of the reasons why I watch hakas. Like every 3 months, I spend like an hour watching hakas. But I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that too, and I wish, basically the same way. I wish that we had an American haka, and I don't feel like we do, and I do wish that we had one. So yes, and yes, I echo thank you because it's true, right? Men in our society are often, told that no, we don't cry, we don't show emotion that way, and yet, in the haka, it's emotion, right? And it's intense, and that's okay. I love the funeral that I hadn't seen before, where the guy kind of comes through the people, and you could see him breaking down, right, as he's doing it, and his friends, you might not have even known them all, right? It's a funeral. You could have been with a bunch of people that you didn't know, and they come in and they keep him going, right? And he keeps going, and he's allowed to have that emotion and express anger and frustration, right? When somebody passes away, there's a lot, and to be able to physically get that out, and at the same time showing your love and respect for the person who has passed away, like that's really powerful. Or love and respect at a wedding, right? Yeah, there's a lot of emotions at a wedding, and guys should be able to cry too, right? It shouldn't be like, oh, it's just a wedding, why are you crying, kind of thing. And yeah, so thank you,
At
Chris.
weddings, I I literally bawl my eyes out. I like cry, especially whenever it's like, I don't know, like a song talking about like giving the daughter away when they're like dancing or something. Oh my gosh, I just cry so hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really powerful. And Tina shared a really nice summary from Reddit. Tina, could you read that out to us for those who are maybe on their phones and they can't get over to the chat as easily?
Yeah, it was just kind of like what Chris was saying, like Haka is a war dance. It says it's a war dance, a greeting, a blessing. It has significance steeped in honor and tradition, and the only disrespect you will do it can come in the form of mockery or half-assery.
Yeah, and I think that's also an American, I'm not going to call it failing necessarily, but an American teaching, which is if you want to like sort of do something, right? I think again of like PE class, right? And the other like 6th grade boys who are like, oh, we have to do dance, right? Why? Why are they taught this, right? Why are they taught this behavior or this response? Yeah, because that's not learned, that's taught. And so they come at it and okay, yeah, it was the electric slide, but they like half-ass the electric slide, right? That's taught. And the Haka is, no, you're committing to this. And by committing to this, you actually allow the emotions, as Chris was saying, to release too. And that's the strength of it. So thank you, Tina, for finding that, because that's very true. And Tina was also telling us about her 3 boys. Yay! Yeah. And I think that's kind of the other thing is, we have to teach appreciating and respecting your emotions. And I think we don't. I think a lot of times we're taught to hide them and not share them, or that they are not valuable. And both of those are not true. Yeah. Yes, Chris, thank you for sharing your perspective. That was awesome. So I'm going to do kind of a hard transition here from the Haka. I love getting to kind of spend this time. Oh, the retiring teacher. Yes, I'm sorry. I skipped over that because I was seeing the other points. Yeah, do you want to do the retiring teacher one? That one's a nice one. I love that one.
Give me a second.
Cool.
I just closed it for some dumb reason. Okay.
Actually, you know what? Stick it over in the chat. You got it? Okay.
Yep. There you go.
Perfect. Cool.
All dudes. That's why I like it. Just a bunch of boys.
Yay. So this one I'll kind of use as our tradition. I'm not sure. He was retiring, right? There's another one where, and I'm not sure, that's a harder one to find, where a teacher actually passed away.
Yeah, this is just the retiring one, not the. They're both really incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Here we go. I love that. You can kind of see the teacher up there. He's like, he's emotional too, and I just I love that one. So from one sign of really powerful respect for joy, for sorrow, for celebration and commemoration, we are going to do kind of a hard shift into a funeral ritual. So hakas can be used as kind of a way of saying, you know, you are getting one of our people, and we will protect and defend our person because they are part of our community. And in the case of Papua New Guinea, we have the Gasalo, which is again kind of a bringing together of community. So Papua New Guinea is actually one half of an island. The other half is part of Indonesia. And we have these communities which were so far inland in the rainforest that we actually don't have outside or European really contact until the 1940s. And the reason that we have contact in the 1940s is actually because there was concern that Japan might use some of the islands in the Pacific as part of attacking in World War II. So we have missionaries and explorers who go more inland and encounter these communities. And I butcher this every single time, but it's the Basavi Kaluli, maybe, community. But the dance that they do and the whole event that they do in the case of a funeral is a Gasalo. A Gasalo actually begins with somebody passing away. And we might kind of say, well, okay, that's not necessarily a big deal. Everybody dies. This is true. But in the case of these communities, everybody lives in the same space. So you would have a longhouse, which you see here. It is literally a long house, right? It is a thatched hall that it extends for many, many feet. And within this space, you actually have approximately 100 people. All of these people are in some way, shape, or form related to each other. So when somebody passes away, it is not just an acquaintance or somebody that you know. It is somebody that you have lived with your entire life, quite possibly. And it is somebody that you are perhaps distantly or very closely related to. And then the third element is that this is a community that doesn't actually understand or recognize our sense of hierarchy. So when the missionaries go in and they meet one of these communities, they say, take me to your leader, right? We have this kind of joke about the aliens coming in and saying, take me to your leader. This community had no idea what you're talking about because they don't have a leader. They are a community that everyone has a job, everyone does that job, and they function, right? There's no hierarchy. There's nobody saying, oh, your job is to go get water. If you don't get water, then people in your community don't have water. So everybody just simply does tasks and, things to survive on a daily basis. The biggest kind of insult that you can give to somebody in one of these communities is to say, I won't feed you, right? That is their boogeyman. Their boogeyman is literally somebody saying, I'm not going to do my job. I'm not going to feed you, right? That is their greatest fear. Or at least that's one of the fears she describes in the book. And so we are talking about a very close-knit community, a related or interrelated community, and a subsistence based community, right? You need me to do my job so that you can do your job and survive. I need you to do your job so that I can survive. And we're very interdependent. So when somebody passes away, not only are you losing a family member and a very close friend, right? Because you've been living with this person, but you're also losing a job provider, right? You're losing the person who would collect water, or the person who would collect birds, or the person who would make the various cooking utensils. So everyone is very important. So in my kind of example here, Longhouse A is going to be us, right? We are Longhouse A, and because I don't want to subject any of you to this, I am going to die. Oh, I'm sorry, right? So you guys have now lost me, and I am different for all of you, right? So let's go ahead and say that Michaela is my daughter, okay? So she's going to have a very specific kind of reaction to my loss, right? I'm not just the person who brought in, let's say my job was collecting birds. Okay, so I would bring in the birds. Somebody would hunt them, and then my job was to bring them in and possibly to pluck them, right? So not only has my job gone, but I'm her mom, right? So that's very significant. Samantha is my niece, right? And I have been mentoring her and teaching her to do my job, right? So she has also been collecting birds and feathers and whatnot. And so, you know, I've been working very closely on a daily basis with her, but my relationship is different, right? My relationship is going to be different. Will is my next door neighbor, right? Which basically means he's on the other side of the screen. And Will, you're also going to be the person who you collect the feathers after I'm done, and you make things with them. So I bring you things that are very important for your work, and you know, you and I, we work all very closely together. And then Tina, you're my best friend. Okay. So you're the one that like I talk to all the time, and all, you know, all of my worries and concerns and whatnot. And like, I'm going on about, oh, Michaela did this today and I just don't know what to do. Right. Sorry, Michaela. She's like, what? So I have 4 very different relationships, right? I have a daughter. I have sort of a mentor-mentee. I have a work colleague, right? But also a neighbor. And I have a best friend. And so all 4 of you, as well as everybody else, right? Because y'all also know me in the Longhouse, but all 4 of you are going to have a very different reaction to my loss, right? So I'm not there anymore. So to help with this loss, because remember, yay, Tina's BFF. So to help with this loss, the other Longhouse, which is miles away, right? Because sort of our community has kind of this area of land. There's another community that's very similar that has kind of that area of land. And again, nobody kind of got together and said, these are our borders, these are your borders. It's, again, sort of communal respect, right? Chris goes out and he collects water over here, and he notices that like there's something funky with this river, right? He's going to go to the other Longhouse and say, hey, be careful at this river. There's something weird. You know, we've got this maybe algae or something that I've not seen before. And, you know, maybe, you know, be careful, right? So we're in communication with Longhouse B all the time. We also probably intermarry with Longhouse B, right? Because remember, we're all related. So we're going to be looking to like Longhouse B and Longhouse C to kind of keep things a little bit, you know, more interesting than all the people that you've seen every day. So ultimately, Longhouse B gets kind of dressed to come to Longhouse A. So it's not a funeral as you and I would understand it, but it's going to be more of a ceremony or a ritual. When they arrive, they are going to come in to our longhouse, but all of our people will have kind of aligned themselves on the sides. And they're going to sort of be joking and kind of casual. You guys probably have experienced people who suffer grief this way, right? Where they kind of toss it off like, it wasn't a big deal, you know, she was just my best friend, right? Yeah, it's a big deal. It's okay. But that's kind of the response from Longhouse A, right? They're in that sort of denial grief stage. And so they might be saying things that are inappropriate or sort of crass. But when they say those, that actually helps the dancers who are selected from Longhouse B. I'll talk about them in a minute. It actually helps those dancers to go, ooh, okay, so Tina's really hurting, right? This is really hard on her. And I know that they were good friends. So I'm going to focus on getting Tina to kind of let go and cry. Somebody else might notice that Michaela is just shut down, right? She's just shut down. She's not even saying anything. She's just like gone, right? Okay, I'm going to focus on Michaela because I know that this is really difficult for her, right? She's not only am I her mom, but she's lived with me all her life, right? Like I know everything. And so like that's a really hard situation. So you know, one of the dancers is going to choose her. So, and so on and so forth, right? So we all kind of get identified as needing a different kind of help, right? Every single one of us is going to need a different kind of help. When they come in, so they've used kind of this joking, masking kind of response to identify the ones who are struggling and suffering the most from this loss. So the first one, the first thing that happens once they come inside, and again, all of this is the Gasalo, right? From the arrival through this whole event. The dancers that are selected from B are actually the people who kind of feel like they are the most able to get emotion from the family members and colleagues and friends. And so they have now identified who is going to dance, and the dancers, as they came in, have identified who they are going to sort of focus on, right? So one of the dancers decides that, in this case, they're all he's, they can be she's as well. One of them decides he's going to focus on Michaela, one's going to focus on Samantha, one's going to focus on Will, and one's going to focus on Tina. They will singly get up to dance. So the first one gets up, and part of what they do is not only a dance, but also a chant. And that chant might be sort of telling a story or telling about the life of the person. And so again, if I'm focusing on Michaela, I'm dead. If the dancer's focusing on Michaela, then, you know, in this case, he might kind of tell stories about how I took care of her as a child and how everyone was so pleased to see Michaela growing and, you know, being strong and doing this, that, and the other, right? And Michaela ultimately breaks down, right? It works, and she is moved to tears. It may not just be her, but the point is that one or more people are moved to tears by the dancing that has been done. And then this is where it gets a little confusing to us from a Western perspective. But Longhouse B actually takes pride in this step. So the last step is that Michaela will then pick up, it's kind of like a long stick, and hold it to the dancer's back, thus actually causing a burn on sort of their scapula. And that burn is treated immediately with a salve, but the burn is actually seen as a badge of honor. This is the ultimate sign of friendship, right? This dancer has taken the pain literally from Michaela and transferred it to himself. And so that is something that he will carry and will display, or she, right, if it's a female dancer, will display proudly. A lot of their clothing you can see kind of has a crisscross to leave the shoulders bare. And so the more of these kind of scars, it's almost like, you know, showing how good a friend you are, because this is the kind of friend that, you know, you've had a terrible relationship or a loss in the family, and they don't show up going, oh, so you did da 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 da. No, they show up and say, do you want to go kickboxing? Yes, I do. Right? That's kind of the approach and the community building that happens between these two groups. Then ultimately, when Longhouse B loses somebody, we will return the favor, right? We will go over and our 4 dancers will try to help them to work through their grief. So this whole process, you know, kind of repeats back and forth, as well as kind of building bonds between the communities themselves, because this dance is, again, a way of kind of releasing letting yourself cry, right? Men and women letting themselves cry and letting themselves grieve the loss of not only a friend, but a family member, a community member, and possibly, you know, a coworker, right? So all of these kind of elements all together in one person. And if you think about it, probably most of you graduated with a graduating class in high school of more than 100 people, right? So, and you probably knew, at least kind of by the face, maybe at least most of your graduating class. So yeah. So can you imagine if, like, say one of the seniors died, everybody in the school, and that's 4 years, right? So that's way more than just 100 people. Now, you know, if you had a very large high school, it might be 4,000 people, right? 4,000 people responding to one loss. Now imagine that's just 100 people. That would be huge, right? So it's really much more kind of significant in that respect. So the Gasalo is this kind of mourning funeral ritual, which is actually, to me, a very beautiful show of like friendship, right? So where we were just talking about the haka being able to move people to tears, now the Gasalo makes a little bit more sense, right? Because you can see how these dances and these chants, you know, especially if they're chanting about someone you loved, someone you knew, it helps, right? It helps you to release. Once all 4 dancers have danced and helped us all to cry, then we have more of kind of what you and I might consider to be a more traditional kind of wake, where we have food. Longhouse B actually brought the food, right? There's no expectation that Longhouse A is going to be able to cook, right? It's the same kind of as in our culture, right? So they've brought food, they bring drink, we tell stories, we celebrate. There may be more dancing to help people kind of through the grieving process. And then in the morning, when the sun kind of rises again, we're able to sort of greet the new day and say, okay, you know, we can move forward, we can move on and honor this memory. So that's the Gasalo. So yeah, I love the power of the haka, and I love the power of the Gasalo. And in my mind, you know, in an amazing world, right, we would all have that kind of friend. We would all have that kind of honor. for our loved ones. That's just kind of me personally. It's a very hard shift and we really only have a little bit of time, but if you haven't already, take a look at the lecture. Because the last one is looking at dance from the Philippines, things like Tininkaling, Maglalatek, and Atikitik. Atikitik, by the way, is quack quack. It's the sound that a duck makes. So in the Philippines, and you know, for those of you, I can't remember what culture it is, but they're like, we are the only culture where a pig says oink, right? All other cultures, pigs say something else. So the onomatopoeia in the Philippines for quack quack is itik. And if you think of like a smaller duck, I can hear that, right? Itik, right? So that's kind of the sound that they make. So Tininkaling is kind of a dance with poles, and I know that I shared. So this is kind of conclusion of kind of what I was saying before. And in the video, I shared this one, which is the kind of formal Tininkaling. If you get to do our lab for this week, it is Tininkaling, and so you'll get to give this a try, along with a little bit of a tick-a-tick, because it's kind of a fun one too. This has to be done as a group dance because you cannot move the poles and dance at the same time. So it has to be done as a group dance. Including blindfolded and sped up. And yes, oh, perfect. Yes, Kendi, it is like double Dutch. It is totally like double Dutch. And you kind of step in and out. And it is a ton of fun. This is one of the, they all make me sad that I can't have our guests in, but I love having Alexa in to do this with all of us because, yeah, I kind of suck at it too, but I don't care. It's so much fun to try. And it's a lot of like, you feel silly, but you also feel so lighthearted and so kind of joyous to do it with. Only one good ankle. Tina, you're awesome. I love it. So yeah, it's kind of this fun, joyous interaction, and similar actually to a lot of our African dance styles. You actually cycle through. So I showed you more of the video in the lecture, but you'll see that, you know, I'm dancing and now I'm on the poles. Now I'm dancing, now I'm on the poles again, right? So you practice not only doing the poles, but also doing the dancing. So you always have that innate rhythm going, right? Whether you're dancing or on the poles. So you always are kind of switching between the two. In performance, I don't think you want me anywhere near the poles. I would totally mess you up. That would not be good. And then I didn't get to share this with you, but my daughter watches a lot of Disney Channel stuff and remembered this one. I love this here too.
You're close to me, and you can feel it too, or hopefully. Now look up and tell me what you really see. A bunch of stray wolves or a family. This is how we're living our lives. Living our lives. Living our lives. Yeah, can you feel the call to the wild? Call to the wild. The call to the wild. We are the call. We are the call. We are the call to the wild.
And I don't know about you, but if I had just seen that, I would not be able to jump in like that. Like she actually jumped in, if you've done the lab, you know that step over thing that she was doing, that's a Teninkling step. No, it doesn't work that way, but thanks. It's a movie, I guess, so it's okay. So yeah, Teninkling is this kind of celebratory dance, this party dance, if you will, and everyone kind of cycles around, so it has to be done as a group. Oh, it literally looks so fun. Where can I do this? Yay, Kendi! Well, when they start offering things again, Alexa actually does do so. Our guest is actually the head of Ballet Austin 2, basically the second company of Ballet Austin, as well as she artistic director of the trainees. She's amazing. She's basically like Ballet Austin royalty. She was a dancer herself, and she teaches Teninkling on a somewhat regular basis. It's kind of like a monthly thing at Ballet Austin. So she brings in the poles, and they actually do experience it at Ballet Austin when it's not COVID times. So I will definitely keep you posted on when that can happen, because it used to actually happen in our classroom. Like in let's see, we would have been I don't know where we would have been in particular, but I taught world dance at Northridge in that big lecture hall, and at Round Rock in the there's a big room in building 8000, and of course down at Highland in the dance studio. So we would have been in one of those places, and we would have had her there, and we would have actually gotten to try it. We try it first with Post-it notes or yoga mats, which is actually what I have in the video. So definitely try the video. You guys can do it together if you want and record yourselves, and then you both have extra credit. So there you go. Yeah, and she also would bring in the poles if she had the car that was long enough, because she has like this little short, I want to say it's like a Leaf or something like that, but it's a shorter car, and she needs the longer car to be able to bring in the poles, because they're 6 feet long. And yeah, it's so much fun. This is the one of, they all make me sad, like I said, but this is one of the ones that makes me the saddest, is because this is kind of our big party celebration at the end, right? Our last dance lab is the most like jumpy, fun, celebratory one. So yeah, I'm glad that you guys are excited. Well, I'm going to leave us there for today. Like I said, I will hang out for any questions or concerns or issues. Let me reiterate, next week, you do not have to be here. If you have roommates and family members listening and you need to make sure they are not bothering you during this time, then yeah, you cannot bother my person right now, right? My person is working. But for you guys, it is your working time next week. So you can check in with me if you have any questions, or you want to send me something to look at, or you want to record, just let me know. Otherwise, I will for sure see all of you on May 6th. Dun, dun, dun. Cool. All right. Oh, yes. Have a great weekend. Everyone stay safe. I'm echoing what Melanie is saying for sure. And I'll see you guys on May 6th, if not before. Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
Jessica.
Thank
Hey,
you.
I have a
Great.
question.
Yes, Michaela, go for it.
So the Cambodia, I think it was the Cambodia essay, I didn't get to write that. But I was going to do one of those dances that you told us we can do for like extra credit or as a replacement.